Man. When we saw him, it was that 40 video, him and Two Show, you know what I'm saying? Rappers Boy. That nigga, he was so energized, he was a motherfucker. He walked up in the camper, right, in the RV, right? He hopped up in that motherfucker. Look, this is my new shit. I'm coming out on Machiavelli. He hopped up on that motherfucker. Every Sunday I was coming on, he performing it. High energy. All the time.
Blowing big weed with motherfuckers and shit, drinking and the whole get down. You know what I'm saying?
He always
That's what we do.
batches. He always kept batches. He always kept them. I love that nigga for that. That's what I'm talking about. He always kept a batch. I'm talking about super bad 6-footers, 5'11s. You know what I'm saying? Touch a touch. You know?
Well, around the time that Tupac got out of jail, Sean Puffy Combs was about to become, I would say, the East Coast version of Suge Knight. You know, very successful record mogul with Bad Boy Records. You know, his first big artist, really big artist, was the Notorious B.I.G. from Brooklyn, New York. As some people know, the Notorious B.I.G., Biggie as we like to call him, and Pac were friends for a little while, you know.
What do you know about that friendship?
I know they did a track or two together. I know that, you know.
I guess they used to hang.
I think Pac and Biggie's. I think
Tupac's talking about blowing up Biggie bringing him out, and
I think, you know, keep in mind during the time that Tupac was filming Above the Rim, you know, he was spending a lot of time in New York City because that's where the film was shot at, and you know, Tupac was a people person, so he gravitated towards a lot of people, you know, and Tupac always had this thing for, like, you know, the cats, the street cats, and so, you know, I'm biased, but it don't get no more street than Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? And so at a certain point you find yourself gravitating towards, you know, Brooklyn thugs and other thugs from other parts of New York City, and I guess during the course of all this, you know, he and Biggie hung out sometimes or whatever, and I don't know.
There was a friendship there.
There was a friendship. You know, they, like I said, they performed together on stage. They recorded together. There's a famous photo of them, the only photo I know of them together. And that was it, man. I don't know where this break started, but apparently, you know, what started off as some sort of personal thing between Suge and Puffy turned into Biggie and Tupac, turned into Death Row, Bad Boy, turned into East Coast, West Coast, turned into a lot of us journalists writing about this, which didn't help the situation.
Right. When Tupac came to the label, and I realize now your vantage point is behind prison walls here. Did you see that as a good thing?
Well, yeah. Before, as Tupac began developing himself behind walls, because you know Tupac had somewhat of a following before he went to prison, but his following increased after he went to prison, and after the struggle started to be visible to people that were, you know, observing him. And when I looked at Death Row, you know, after the Snoop Dogg trial, the Tupac thing was a perfect marriage in the sense that was a part of his destiny. Now, when David went down to get him out on bail, people thought he couldn't do it. See, so and I want to deviate for a minute. A lot of people talk about the monies that helped create Death Row. They forget about the support team. They forget about if it wasn't for David Kenner, Snoop Dogg might have went to prison. First of all, for the murder that he was on trial for. They forget about how Kenner helped Suge get Tupac out of prison. They forget about it. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but they forget about the support team that I helped bring to the table. Because remember, I brought David into the Death Row family and helped, or the GF family, which was, you know, consequently the Death Row family. So what ended up happening was David and Suge went to New York to free Tupac, and everybody thought it was impossible, and was able to get him under their management. And I believe it was the next day after Suge took Tupac to the studio, I talked to him on the telephone, and Suge was elated. He didn't care nothing about any of the other artists at that time. He says all he needs is Tupac. He says Tupac is such a genius, and this guy is a workaholic. He didn't want no girls. He didn't want nothing. All he wanted was to go to the studio and go to work.
Tupac most fascinating person I've ever interviewed in my life, period. What attracted me to Tupac as a hip-hop journalist is the fact that his mother was a Black Panther, that he was born, in New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. His stepfather, Mutulu Shakur, is a political prisoner, quote unquote, in the United States. The fact that here's this cat to me who kind of walked this fine line between the music of Public Enemy and the music of NWA. Sometimes he's very political, sometimes he's very, self-proclaimed thug life-ish. It didn't hurt that he was a very good-looking young man, so he had this appeal to a lot of women, but he still had this edge to him which made him appealing to a lot of young men, you know what I'm saying? And very articulate and talented actor. And I would say if one person embodies, what hip-hop represents, it's Tupac Shakur, or was Tupac Shakur. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Suge wanted him on Death Row Records so badly, because even though Snoop was a huge star, he didn't have what Tupac had, He just didn't have that. It's that kind of icon presence like a James Dean or Elvis or Jimi Hendrix or Joplin or Marilyn Monroe or, he didn't have that. Tupac had that. And that, to me, getting Tupac over to Death Row is like crown jewel, you know what I mean?
One I remember the most is when I first met him. The first time I seen him in the flesh, everybody knew about him, but the first time I met him in the flesh, and he embraced me and was like, "What's up, nigga?" Because he had heard about me on 40 shit on Federal, the drought season, and he was loving that shit, So when the first time I seen him, he was like, "What's up, Cavi?" Whoop whoop, gave him a nigga a hug and everything. It just touched me, because it was some real shit. He didn't hold back like, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. He was a real nigga and showed niggas love like a real nigga would, That that was the most memorable moment I had with him, for sure.
My most memorable moment was when every time I got around him, you know what I mean? Because when I first met him, that was practically looking hard video. Me and my nigga Yeezy Meezy right here, we was doing our grooving thing, and we had our rapping thing jumping off. He was on what was it? What you was on? Let him know what you was on.
Extra man and shit.
Extra manager.
And mailman.
And you know
Where the
what I
party
mean?
at?
Where the party at? You know what I mean? And he was giving love to us, and we kicked it from there. And every time I got around him, it was like first time meeting him, we enjoyed ourselves. It was never a different kind of move when we see him. You know what I mean? It was like the same move every time. And he was partying. He was enjoying his life, because you only get to live once, and he was doing his thing.
Hey, what I acknowledge about him, right? When I first met him, man, dude had an impact, straight up, because he loved my brother 40. And 40 was getting knocked back then, you know what I'm saying? The motherfuckers wasn't knowing him but the Bay. And some of the niggas in the Bay wasn't loving him until he had to drop his shit the real way with Mr. Flamboyant, the whole shit blam. Niggas started loving him, right? And when Tupac represented with that nigga loving him on Practice Looking Hard, nigga, I'm like, this nigga right here, he know what the fuck is going down. And then he come to a young nigga like me, and I was doing my little tired of being stepped on dance back in the days, me tapping and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? When he looked at me like that and just hey, little nigga, you putting it down too. And I was like about 16, 15, 16, 17 at that age, you know what I'm saying? And then he was loving the nigga, right? And that's a high impact on me, because I'm seeing this nigga on TV. I ain't never touched no TV screen until I was on 40 videos. And he seeing this shit, and I'm like, oh man, you seen that shit, Tupac? He like, yeah. I'm like, it's all gravy, nigga. What? I love you. You loving my brother, and I'm loving you straight up to the fullest.
Well, I first met Tupac directly after he did Juice. He was coming through a lobby at the Urban Network convention, and he was walking toward me, and it was dark, so I didn't figure he knew who I was anyway. I mean, plus, who was I? So I'm standing there, he walking toward me, so I moved. And he moved. And I moved again. He moved again. And he was walking toward me. He walked straight up to me and said, "What's up, dog?" Whoop. I said, "Oh, man, congratulations. Juice was tight. What's up?" And he was like, keep doing what you do. Shook my hand, gave me, a little hug and jetted out. And I didn't see him again until I first saw him at Death Row working on something. I'm not even sure what it was. But he was sitting behind the board with Snoop. and the Pound, they were doing some stuff. I walked in the door, he saw me. He walked up and came and, got up from the board, came over and gave me a hug, and said, how you, what's up? I said, what's up? And, shook hands. He went back, did what he did. And that was about another 5 seconds. I mean, both times I met him was about 5 or 6 seconds. And I called to the studio one day just for the hell of it, just to see who was there. And I said, who's in the studio? And I said, Pac. I said, Pac? He out. I didn't even know he was out of incarceration. So he got on the phone. I said, you know what? I had a vision yesterday. He said, what? I said, do a song with Tupac. And he said, I do one with you, you do one with me. I said, coolly out. So I got me some party favors and out to the studio. And we hooked up and did Picture Me Rolling. That was cool. Yeah, I thought he was real cool to do that because he didn't really even know me. I mean, we only met each other twice for that amount of time. So that was kind of cool.
See, Pac wasn't getting it. Man, Pac came to me one night and said, man, I sold 7 million motherfucking records and all this, all that hollering and screaming out his tongue about to fall out. And all I got is $100,000 in the bank. And this fat motherfucker running around like he the store and got all the motherfucking money. He ain't got to the point like that talking. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. It was like that now. It wasn't no more. He just, but Tupac was real ambitious and real, what you call that shit? Spontaneous. As soon as he shook, he owned Suge. What about that you promised me, Suge? And Suge got to get it. What about this you promised me, Suge? And Suge go get it. What about this, Suge? But all the time, ain't none of his Pac name is all just like, rented shit. You know what I'm saying? But he had it. You feel me? From Hummers to Roses, man.
I didn't notice any change out of the ordinary once Tupac came on board. I think that any thing that did take place was no more than the professional jealousies that you would have in any label, whether it be between Tupac and whomever, or Streisand and Celine Dion. I mean, no difference. It was, and I think that a lot of the younger kids really fed off of the fact that you had someone like a Tupac, at the label. That would always help them creatively.
Yeah, but it was way different. I mean, it was only a couple of $1,000s where, Lonzo could have came and paid and got easy out of jail. Where Tupac had $1 million jail thing over his head, because, like I was saying that was the main reason that broke Atron and Tupac up, is him sitting in jail and, Atron telling me that he didn't want to have no parts or nothing to do with Death Row. And he told when I guess Tupac was trying to tell him to go to Suge to get the money, and Atron wasn't with it. He was like, I'm not going to do no business with no Suge. I guess Atron was already feeling what was going down or whatever. And, so Tupac had to do what he had to do, man, because he was in a penitentiary. He wasn't just in no jail.
He has started making all of the right moves in the direction of becoming his own record company. And it would have been very successful because of who he was and because of his name. So with everything that he was had planned and that he was in his mind working on, it was time to, make it happen. And as it was time to make it happen, other things were happening, like him trying to leave Death Row. There was a lot of rumors of a lot of things. I'm not going to say that he was unhappy, but I'm not going to say he was as happy as he once was. He called an audit while we were on the movie set of Gridlock on Death Row, and I think that's when it all started coming to a head. It all started coming together that he was trying to find out, hey, where's my money, or why is nothing in my name?
Was money a problem? Was he getting his due rewards?
Tupac and the other artists as well was what I can see, what I saw, what I can see, and what I was told was being treated fairly good, rather good. If they wanted anything, Suge bought it for them. Cars, homes, jewelry. Pac, I think every week around Thursday or Friday would request a $5,000 payday, if you call it. And he would have $5,000 sent to him wherever we were at, by messenger. And that's the extent of money, that I saw. Now, I'm not saying that, he wasn't given, larger sums of amount of money, at other times, but it's only what I have seen with my eyes that I could witness, that he was getting money as he requested it. But I mean, I don't understand the points, and I don't understand, the whole business of sales and what he had coming to him over and beyond what he had, contractually had with Death Row or with Suge. But I think there was something, there was an issue, and he wasn't getting it possibly. I don't know. So the marriage was coming to a fast end, and that's how it came about.